Hello and welcome back to Patchworks. So my wife is putting a bit of a fire under my butt to get this table, our kitchen table or dining room table, finished and ready before the baby comes, and we don't have that much more time. So I'm gonna start off today's video by gluing these together. Now these are supposed to be a matchbook set. There's a bunch of voids and gaps and stuff that I'm gonna have to figure out how to fill, and you're gonna come along and experience that with me. First, what we're going to do is glue them together. Now, I believe this is the matchbook side. It's either that one or this one. What do you guys think? I think this might be the move. Hopefully we can remove that stain on it. Goodness, I don't know what that was. I think maybe glue or something. There's a bit of a stain right there. This side would be a whole lot easier because there are a lot less voids to fill, but this side is also less even. I think we're gonna go ahead with this side. So here's what's going on. I am going to do this side. I'm going to glue it together. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm not gonna do an epoxy. I think I'd be in way over my head if I tried to do an epoxy pour. And so instead, I think what I'm gonna do to fill most of these gaps, like that, or like these cracks right here, I'm gonna use a CA glue. So this is a bark fill right here. So I'm gonna knock these out. Let's go ahead and I'm going to glue these up. Just pull the trigger, I gotta start. So I'm just gonna glue these up and I'll go from there. So I guess it's good to mention that the gentleman who I bought this wood slab from specifically said that he had milled and cut these edges to be glued. Generally, if I was doing this myself, like if I've ever done this before, I believe if I was doing this myself and I had cut these myself, I would have had to clean up these edges so they're a right angle and they're actually like meet up and have a good mating surface, but he specifically said that he did all that. So we're going to trust this stranger on Facebook Marketplace. Because, I mean, what's the other option at this point? And I totally got wood glue on these pants just now. Francis, what are you doing down here? We got a party going on down here. All the pets are joining us. There's actually two flat surfaces right here, so we will use this. I just want to make sure this is as level as possible. I mean, I'm going to come back over and sand this either way. Well, you know what? So, I guess as it dried or adjusted to my basement, these edges do not match up nearly as nicely as they once had, perhaps. So there's a whole bunch of holes that I'm gonna have to fill up with some CA glue. But I'm happy with my decision to not go with epoxy so far. We'll see. It's gonna be a pain trying to clean these up. You know, I don't wanna sit around 3 days for epoxy to maybe cure or maybe spill all over my basement floor. Now, I have to go figure out what I wanna do with the legs. Now, I think I want like a farm table style legs. It also means that I don't necessarily have to match up. Like if I do it a white or paint them black, something like that, I don't have to match up with this like red oak. Sorry if the audio is going in and out. I'm still getting the hang of this. This is a whole new camera and audio system, and these first few videos might be worse than what I was doing on my iPhone as I get used to it. This is set up for about a day. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in, or try to fill in a bunch of these cracks. So it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I'm not doing epoxy or bow ties. I'm just going to be picking this stuff out. So I'm going to unclamp this. I'm going to start picking out the bark, and I'm going to try to clean out these cracks and stuff before I fill them. I'm not going to fill these large cracks. I'm going to just leave them open because I feel like that's going to be just way more than I am actually capable of doing. But I am going to try to fill in these tinier cracks here before I apply the finish. Nice. I'm going to scrape these off. I have yet to pick up a scraper. I don't really know what I'm going to do with the bottom. Apparently I have to put the same finish I do on the rest because the table can warp. Not that this table is particularly true to begin with, but I'm not going to stress too much about how the bottom of the table looks. I'm not going to fill in these cracks and stuff like that. That's the whole reason I'm using the other side, because it has a lot less cracks. I'm going to really mess up my knife doing this. Alright, flathead screwdriver. Probably. I don't know if it's really going to be better, but it's not going to break my knife. Heyo! That's sick. Let's see if we got that. Yeah. That's cool. That. This is very satisfying. What we're gonna do now is I have some 5-minute epoxy. This is not like tabletop epoxy or anything like that. It sets up in 5 minutes, cures in an hour, so I can fill these large cracks, and then I can sand everything today. I don't think any of these cracks, maybe these cracks do go all the way through. Fill these tinier cracks, like the 5-minute epoxy, these little bubbles. Ow! And we'll go from there, I guess. So this is my plan. These are a 1-to-1 mixture. I'm just gonna mix them with some of this scrap wood I have right here. So we're gonna do equal parts this. And then I'm just gonna start filling in these tiny holes. So this sets up real quick. I probably should have just gotten like CA glue or something like that, but I could not find any. We're just gonna start filling these holes. Maybe that's the move, just kind of spackle it on. I'm just gonna keep mixing this stuff and putting it in. And we'll just see how it goes. Listen, this is not how you're supposed to be doing this. I think anyone watching would understand that. But those tabletop epoxies are so expensive. You gotta order them online. I got this stuff for like 12 bucks at Home Depot. We'll see. Probably a good idea to sand this before. I filled this. I'm gonna let this set. It says 5 minutes, but it's kind of cold down here. I'm gonna let this set for probably close to like 10-15 minutes. I'm gonna go eat some lunch. And then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna refill these holes with more epoxy because it did seep down a little, but I don't think it went all the way through. So I think we're good there. Hopefully this won't be stuck to the table when I come back. So we'll refill these holes a little bit and then we should be good to do our second fill. Maybe this epoxy is gonna yellow over time too because it's not like a tabletop epoxy. I don't know any of this stuff. I think this is pretty much set. So let's let this set up. All right, we are back and I'm using my microphone again. So again, forgive me if this messes up or the audio keeps going back and forth. But I've let it set for like 15 minutes. We're going to mix up some more of this stuff. Sorry, just getting my gloves because I keep getting epoxy on my hands and I feel like that's not good. So I'm leaving this like raised. Hopefully I can sand this down when I'm done. I'm checking to see if it's dripping down and it doesn't look like it's dripping anymore. We're gonna call this part done and I'm gonna move on to the legs. Now I've decided what I want to do with the legs and again we're going with a budget option. They're gonna be painted. So we're just gonna be using some cheap like fur from Home Depot. So let's get started on that. So new plan, I'm gonna run to Home Depot first. I have to grab some more sandpaper. Apparently I'm not working my way up in grits fine enough. I'm going to a 180, which is what the Rubio Monocoat recommends. That's what I'm using as a finish on this table. And I have 180, I have 120. I need to try to find like 140 and 160 sandpaper for my Orville sander as well. So I'm gonna go grab that and then I'm gonna bring everything back outside. It's a little cold today. I'm gonna chop it all out there, sand it down out there. Try to cut down on how much sawdust I have down here. And then we'll bring everything back down. And the finish is supposed to be arriving today. So hopefully we'll be able to put on the first coat of that. But I'm gonna be right back and see you guys outside. Nope. All right, look at me. I got one of those fuzzy things, so shouldn't be hearing the wind anymore when we're outside. Hopefully. I'm gonna attempt some editing magic right here, and you'll only see this if it works. These are the type of legs I am going to try to make. There should be an image popping up on this side of the screen. So an average table height is 32 to 34 inches. The table is 1.5 inches. The 2x4s 1.5 inches as well. We're gonna have, it's gonna make like a T with 2 lines down the middle. So one on top, one 2x4 on the bottom, 2 standing upright. So that's 3 inches there. So we'll just call it the legs are gonna be 30. So it's gonna be 3 inches, and that would make, I need 27-inch cuts on the wood here. So let's start with the 4 27-inch cuts. Just shy of 27 inches. These are probably the most standard I've ever cut any wood before. And now we need 4 more pieces, and I'm gonna go pop downstairs real quick and measure the width of the table, because I don't want the legs to be much wider than the table. The table is about 22 inches wide at its thinner side. So let's call it 21 inches. We'll do 21 inches then, because that's the width. And let's cut those now. I'll clean that up, but this is what I was thinking for the base, top and bottom. Now I'm done with this travel mode right here. This is where it gets a little tricky. So on the bottom here, the design I was looking at had a little bit of a decorative, I don't think it was decorative, I think it was just functional. It's harder to keep a long piece of wood like this flat. So it cut in about 1/4 inch along most of it. So I'm going to attempt that. You know, maybe like a 1/2 inch, maybe more of like 1/4 inch. And I'm just gonna route this out, or attempt to. Skip through this part because it's a little crazy. Well, that wasn't great, but I think I can work that, sand this well enough to make it flat, and this is going to be on the bottom, so I'm just going to chamfer these edges, and that's really all you're going to see. But that did take like 10 minutes of the router, so I'm not going to show that again, but we're going to do that and then move on to, we're just going to sand these, I think, at 80, just to really round everything over and take out any high spots. Let's see how bad this turns out. Well, my hands are frozen. I'm going to quickly move this inside. I'm done routing, and I sanded all the legs over. So we're gonna go back to the basement after I clean up out here in a little bit. I need to start looking at the camera. I keep looking at the screen. I need to look in the camera. Looking at you, punks. Little windproof can come off now. Let's go over here, and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Ellie. Oh, hi, Ellie. Say hi to the cameras, Ellie. You're a star. Alright, watch out, baby, watch out. So this, if you couldn't imagine what I had been thinking yet, I'm gonna double check the height, because this seems tall. I'm gonna double check the height. I might need to cut these down a little bit. These are so big. That's 31. I'm gonna go grab the chairs we bought, see what that looks like. So, I measured that totally wrong. Actually, I didn't measure, I measured one part wrong, and I remembered one part wrong. So, for anyone who knows anything about tables and counters, counter height is 31 to 34 inches, or 34 to 36 inches. Table height is 28 to 30 inches. So I'm gonna cut these, I'm gonna cut out 27.5 inches, which will bring us up to 29 for the table height once the tabletop's on top. So I have to cut off 3.5 inches off of the legs. And I also need to cut down the width of the top part because I just measured that wrong. Let's take a look at what this could actually look like. Oh. Well, obviously I need to nail this down. Screw it in rather. You know what? Why am I messing around? Let's screw those legs together, then let's place this back on top. Boom diggity. Now let's do that one more time. Watch out, Ellie. Oh, look at that. It's more of a desk size than a table. We don't have a lot of space for this table to begin with. We only got 2 chairs. Let's see. This is table height. No way. This is, holy guacamole. The width is lacking, you know, I knew that going in, but again, we don't have a lot of space to work with up there. And I'm really happy with this. This is really cool. I'm gonna put this to the side, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna paint the legs. I got like a white paint, and I don't know how I feel about it now looking at this. I think we're gonna switch it to a black paint. I think I'm gonna pick up a black paint. I'm back, don't worry. Goodness gracious, I'm getting a call from my mother. Hello, Mother. Hello there. This is disorienting because I can't, when I'm on this side of the camera, I can't see the screen, but it's making me look in the lens. Feel uncomfortable at that. Let me just stare at you for a bit. I'm gonna just paint this real quick, you know. I'm realizing that I did not space these out evenly. I don't know. I guess I just didn't do the math on that. Back up, Ellie, this is paint. I'm gonna have to put you upstairs. Back up, please. So this is like a Y, but it's equal on both sides. So I'm just gonna go with it, you know? I'm just gonna say that that was intentional. I'm gonna delete that part, just say that they intentionally made it like a little Y shape. Back up, Ellie. Don't get close to me, baby. No way, good girl. No, back up, please. Ellie, back up. Thank you. All right, this one's done. Now let's do the second one. YouTube video editing. Hey, I'm excited to see how terrible that edit was. I'm gonna let these dry. By the time I get back, we should be good to start sanding the tabletop. That's what I'm most nervous about. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to sand it all tonight, but we're gonna start when I get back. So here's the situation, y'all. I would like to sand this now, but I don't want to get my lens all covered in sawdust. So in an effort, I'm gonna keep you guys a little far away, and I might use my phone to film some of this as well. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I thought that was going to happen a lot quicker, but I'm gonna water pop this, then I'm gonna show you what it's looking like right now. Pretty darn nice if you ask me. Let's flip it over and work up our way up on the grits. I don't know how well this is gonna pick up, but this is looking really nice. And I water popped it. This is after the last grit. And right here, there's some very nice chatoyancy, which I hope the finish is gonna bring out. So now what I have to do is I have to Google how to apply Rubio monocoat, and I think I'm gonna do 2 coats, even though it's monocoat. From what I've heard, 2 coats provides the best aesthetic as well as the best protection. So I'm gonna go grab that and get to it. Gonna be applying Rubio monocoat. Maybe I'll just do 1 coat because it says you have to wait 24 hours before doing the second. And I don't wanna wait. But it's a 3-to-1. It comes with the, component A and then the accelerator here. So it's a 3-to-1 on the accelerator. I'm gonna mix it. I'm gonna spread it around with this. And then I'm going to buff it with these pads right here. Apparently this stuff goes a lot further than you'd think. You know what? I don't think this is the right stuff. I think I got the wrong color here. I have to look this up. This does not look... Does it dry clear? Because this doesn't look clear right now. I don't want to get it on the edges. I don't want to get it on the edges. I just scared myself. I thought that this was the top. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the right color. I was hoping that, if anything, it would make this darker. This is making it lighter. It's like washing it out almost. Let's just keep going and see what happens. I mean, that finish is nice. So here's what I'll say. This was my own mistake. I assumed this would work the same way most finishes or oils I've used on wood before, which is make it darker inherently. This is a natural look, and it really did just put a sheen on it. When it goes on, it made it look a little matte and a little lighter, but outside of the camera, it really does keep it looking completely natural. Maybe lightens it up just a hair, but it puts a really nice sheen. And while this isn't originally what I was thinking, it really does give it a really natural, nice look. Now, maybe this is me just telling myself this because I don't want to have to wait for another one to come in, but I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this bottom, and then I'm gonna really take my time doing the top. It's thick, but thin at the same time, I don't know. There's some elbow grease into it. Put some elbow grease into it. I'm throwing elbow grease, guys. Think it's looking very nice. See how it looks tomorrow. I think we figured out the layout of these legs. Before I screw it in though, I'm gonna add another screw to both sides of these because they're able to move a little bit too much. So I'm gonna screw that in some more. There's a bit of a spacing difference in between these. I wanted to try to keep them the same width from the sides here, but not really gonna be able to do that. Goodness gracious, don't poke out the front. What's the best way to lift this without ripping it out? Back up, Ellie. Francis, you're in the way. Oh, beep, beep, beep. Excuse me, kitten. Ooh. Clearly I need to shim this underneath. I pulled this back from the window just a little bit because the glare off the table was messing with the light of this shot, but I am very happy with this. This is my first project like this ever, and you know, this is definitely not what I was picturing the finished product to be, mainly with this finish, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now this, you know, this is full of soft wood on the edge, and you know, this finish isn't gonna hold up. As I had mentioned, and I'll bring you in for some closer shots, there are bubbles in this epoxy for sure, which, you know, I'm sure I could fill up with some CA glue or something like that. But my daughter's about to be born, and this table's gonna get destroyed in you know, a few months or a year. If I want to refinish it, I can sand it all down and do it better. But right now we need a table, and I'm very happy with how this turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what the next project should be. I'm finishing up the gas tank, fixing the gas tank for the motorcycle CB1000. I think I'm going to need to make coasters for this thing because I want to at least try to not ruin it immediately. Drop a like and a comment if you like what you saw. Be sure to subscribe so you can see upcoming videos of my, you know, disasters and successes. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys on the next video.